Yeah, so now you can ask for more money.
I can die a happy now.
Don't die yet. We need you.
Beneath her glamorous veneer, Britain's beloved entertainer, Cilla Black, harbored a poignant story of profound loss that would come to define her later years. Known for bringing joy to millions through hit shows like Blind Date and Surprise, Surprise, Cilla was not only a star, she was a woman who had endured unimaginable heartache. The Liverpool native faced the devastating loss of her husband, Bobby Willis, to cancer, and before that, she suffered the tragic death of their newborn daughter, Ellen, who lived just 2 fleeting hours. These heart-wrenching experiences cast long shadows over her life, transforming her into a person who, as those closest to her would reveal, began to see death not as an end but as a reunion with her dearly departed. Cilla's final hours.
The post-mortem has confirmed that Cilla Black died of natural causes. Now it's revealed that he died of a stroke after, they say, falling, hitting her head.
She fell and hit her head, but the cause of death was a stroke.
The sun was blazing down on the Costa del Sol on August 1st, 2015, when Cilla Black stepped onto the terrace of her Spanish villa in Estepona. It was a routine she had performed countless times before, sunbathing in the privacy of her Hollywood home, seeking solace in the warmth that had become her refuge from the British spotlight. But this August afternoon was different, marking the end of a life that had been marked by extraordinary success and profound personal tragedy. According to the official investigation, Cilla had been sunbathing on her private terrace when she stood up, lost her balance, and fell backwards, striking her head. The impact was devastating. She suffered a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a form of stroke caused by bleeding on the brain, which most likely resulted from the traumatic head injury sustained in the fall. The 72-year-old entertainer was knocked unconscious instantly, and what followed was a race against time that ultimately proved futile. The most haunting aspect of her death was the solitude. A newly released autopsy report revealed that she lay undiscovered for up to 5 hours after the fall, unconscious and alone in the Spanish heat. The report confirmed she fell sometime between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m., but wasn't discovered by her son Bobby until around 5:30 p.m. These hours of lying unconscious in the blazing sun likely contributed to her death, with heat stroke adding to the already fatal injuries from her fall. Paramedics arrived at around 6 p.m. local time, but they were unable to save her. The woman who had entertained Britain for over 5 decades was gone. Her death officially recorded as accidental by Liverpool coroner Andre Rebello, who described her as a daughter of Liverpool, celebrated by everyone there. The coroner's verdict provided closure to her 3 grieving sons, Robert, Ben, and Jack, but it couldn't erase the tragic circumstances that had brought their mother's remarkable life to such a sudden end. A love story cut short. Long before that fateful day in Spain, Cilla Black had already experienced the devastating loss that would fundamentally alter the course of her life. On October 23, 1999, her husband and manager, Bobby Willis, died at age 57, succumbing to lung and liver cancer at the Royal Free Hospital in London. His death marked the end of not just a marriage, but a partnership that had sustained Cilla through 3 decades of show business success. Bobby Willis had been far more than just a husband to Cilla. He had been her anchor, her manager, and her closest confidant. Born in Liverpool in 1942, Bobby had started his working life at a bakery counter in Woolworths before pursuing his dreams as a singer and songwriter. When he met Cilla in the 60s, she was working as a part-time waitress in a Liverpool bar, and in a bid to impress her, Bobby claimed he was a record producer. That white lie evolved into a profound truth as he later became her manager after the death of Brian Epstein, guiding her career for the next 30 years. Their relationship had been built on genuine love and mutual respect. They married January 25, 1969, Bobby's 27th birthday, at Marylebone Town Hall. To please Cilla's Catholic family, they later had their marriage blessed at St. Mary's Church in Liverpool's Woolton suburb. Together, they created a family that would become the center of Cilla's world, having 3 sons, Robert, Ben, and Jack. Bobby's battle with cancer was a devastating blow to the family. The man who had managed every aspect of Cilla's career and personal life was suddenly gone, leaving her to navigate the world alone for the first time. Paul O'Grady, a close friend, revealed the profound impact of Bobby's death on Cilla, explaining she had never done anything for herself. She had never used a cash machine, never ordered a taxi, never handled the mundane tasks of daily life because Bobby had taken care of everything. At the height of her television success, she found herself having to learn basic life skills while grieving the loss of her soulmate. The funeral service was November 1st at St. Mary the Virgin Church in Denham, Buckinghamshire, where Bobby was cremated. Baby Ellen's tragic birth. Perhaps the most heartbreaking tragedy in Cilla's life occurred October 5, 1975. when she went into premature labor at just 28 weeks pregnant. The baby she had longed for, a daughter she and Bobby had named Ellen, was far too early, her tiny body unable to survive the complications of such an early birth. She lived for 2 hours before passing away, leaving Cilla and Bobby devastated by a loss that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The tragedy struck at a time when Cilla was at the height of her career, juggling her successful recording career with her burgeoning television work. In a searingly honest interview with Piers Morgan in 2009, during an episode of Life Stories, Cilla revealed the depth of her despair following Ellen's death. She described herself as being in shreds when doctors delivered the devastating news, and she wrongly blamed herself for working too much during her pregnancy. Cilla's words to Piers Morgan captured the profound impact of the loss. She said she was, quote, inconsolable, riddled with guilt, and meshed in depression, from which I was convinced there was no return. The grief was so overwhelming it threatened to consume her entirely. The woman who had brought joy to millions through her music and television work found herself unable to find any joy in her own life, struggling with guilt and depression that seemed insurmountable. The loss of Ellen represented not just the death of a child, but the death of dreams and hopes that Cilla and Bobby had cherished. They had 3 wonderful sons, but Ellen would have been their only daughter. The tragedy bonded the couple closer, but it also left emotional scars that never healed fully. The weight of loss.
Stars of show business and TV have been paying tribute to the entertainer Cilla Black, who's died at her home in Marbella, aged 72. The former singer, who'd been suffering from hearing problems and arthritis, had flown out to Spain just a few days ago with one of her sons. Colleagues and friends described her as a trailblazer and a rare talent.
The deaths of Bobby Willis and baby Ellen had a profound and lasting impact on Cilla Black's later years, transforming her from a vibrant entertainer into a woman increasingly marked by loss and longing. Those who knew her best observed a fundamental change in her outlook on life, particularly after Bobby's death in 1999. The woman who had once embodied the joy and optimism of 1960s Britain began to express a weariness with life that ultimately culminated in her own tragic end. Terry McCann, a childhood friend, provided perhaps the most revealing insight into her state of mind in the years following Bobby's death. In the aftermath of her own passing, McCann told the BBC that he, quote, wasn't surprised to find out Cilla had died, and that the last thing she had said to him was that she was going blind and had arthritis. More significantly, he revealed that Cilla had expressed a desire to die, telling him, quote, Bobby's waiting for me. McCann's account painted a picture of a woman who had grown tired of living without her beloved husband. He explained that Cilla had, quote, willed herself to die, drawing parallels between her death and that of her mother, who had also died after a period of illness. Cilla had apparently told McCann she knew she was going to die and she wasn't going to linger like her mother, who had been ill for 2 years. The entertainer had looked up at her friend and said, look at me, I'm a wreck, while McCann tried desperately to cheer her up. The revelation was supported by other accounts of Cilla's final years. In 2014, she had stated she wanted to die when she reached 75, as her mother, who suffered from progressive osteoporosis, had lived to 84 and her final years were difficult. In what was believed to be her last interview, given to a Canadian radio station in early June 2015, she made a prophetic comment. After being reminded of the success of her hit song, Anyone Who Had a Heart, she joked that she could, quote, die happy now. The words proved tragically prescient just weeks later. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Cilla Black? Let us know in the comments section below.